What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boss Life with Bonds. I'm your host, Coach Bonnie. First of all, it looks like Facebook started like 10 seconds late, so I'll start over. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Life with Bonds. Coach Bonnie here, and I wrote the title for this podcast a few weeks ago and never got around to actually writing what I wanted to say on it. And then with a conversation that I just had in the DMs with a client, a longtime client, well, more like her and I did life coaching and fitness coaching together. She took a break, went down to just fitness only, took another break, and then came back again, or maybe it was just twice. I can't remember. But she's a tough cookie because I don't go easy on people, especially for people that have expressed to me what their goals and their ambitions are. I'm going to hold you accountable to that. And so today's episode is kind of near and dear to my heart. They all are, but tough love was a game changer for me and has made me into who I am today. And so this episode is for anyone who shies away from tough love. And I'm going to list a couple of reasons why you might be doing that. And then I'm going to list some of the benefits and the things that you're missing out on by shying away from it. So first and foremost, and I had this discussion with a friend because I was venting to a friend. I was like, well, I'll give you two different conversations. One of my friends messaged me about something and somebody was giving her a hard time. And I got worked up because it's my friend. And I started like popping off like, and you don't deserve that, and yada, 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 da, da, da. And then at the end of it, I was like, and also you stop putting yourself in situations with those kind of people, yada, yada, yada. And then she said, wow, that came in really tough for me. And I was confused. I was like, you think that was tough? I was just being very, very blunt and straightforward about what needs to happen. And she's like, well, I don't respond well to tough love. And I said, well, make sure that you stay the heck away from my podcast or my lives because that's all they are. And she goes, don't worry, I do. I don't watch them. And I was like, okay. I didn't take it personally. I was like, good, because, I'm not for everybody, right? And I was telling this story to another friend of mine, and she goes, well, some people have trauma, and people with trauma don't always respond well to tough love. And I was like, that is a beautiful and extremely valid point. And from there, I will go into the next part of my point, which is this. As adults, first of all, everyone goes through some sort of childhood trauma, if you will, because we are children experiencing very adult problems that we're expected to respond to like adults, and we don't have those tools. So even if you were a rich kid, even if you had a really good life, even if you had a very terrible life, we all experience some level, my eyebrows are irking me, some level of childhood trauma. Now, as an adult, I know that we all, up until recently, we all didn't have access to the same resources that could help us deal with our trauma. But nowadays, I'm gonna just be real, like you have TikTok where there are like legal, not legal, but like professionals on there giving away their wisdom, therapists, life coaches like myself, mental health specialists, and then just other people who have the battle scars and survived crap and giving you wisdom. So I will say that, like, you don't necessarily have to have a therapist. It is beneficial for a lot of people, but if you can't afford it, seriously, hop on TikTok and search through hashtags about mental health or therapist or psychologist. You would be surprised how much just being exposed to some of the introspective views and questions that they pose, what that can do for your mental health. So what I'm saying before I get into tough love is that if trauma is the reason why you avoid tough love, sweetheart, you are an adult. Your childhood trauma is what is creating your continued adult drama, signature Coach Bond's phrase, trademark. and you'll continue to experience the drama of your adulthood because of the traumas that you don't want to face and heal. And you can't rely, or you can't rely on well, I don't have a therapist or I can't afford one. Hop on TikTok, hop on YouTube. There are people who give enough information to at least get the ball rolling for you to start working on some of those initial barriers that you have to receiving stuff on the chin, right? Okay, so there's that. There's that aspect, okay? The second thing that I want to touch on before I go into tough love is that, no, it's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't respond to the same type of teachings, but I also want to differentiate between being an asshole or being a bitch and then having tough love, because those things teeter totter very closely. And I think in this situation that sparked this live, the client was telling me, like, you're trying to be too perfect of a coach and I need more empathy. And Bonnie last year would have taken that very personally. Like, I would have been confused. I'd have been like, oh, me trying to be a perfect coach? Thank you. But me this year, that is a little bit more looking at things objectively, is like, the response that I gave you was the opposite of me trying to be a perfect coach. The response that I gave her was some very on the chin, tough love that she wasn't ready to receive yet. Or getting to this point, it's not for everybody, right? And it could be because of the trauma factor. It could be also, like me, where I was for a while, that you just simply cannot face the parts of your shadow that are clear to, before you get embarrassed, they're not clear to everybody, so don't go and get embarrassed. I remember when my mentor was calling out pieces of my shadow earlier this year, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, does everyone see me like that? And he's like, don't worry, I'm a PhD in psychology. I see what you're doing. Everybody else may not see it, but I see it. And I was like, it doesn't make me feel any better, but thanks. But it could also be that. Remember what I talked about on yesterday's podcast, the shadow, right? The pieces of us that we don't want to face. And sometimes it will show up as resistance, especially when we're faced with the opportunity to grow. We'll put our hands up and we'll make up every excuse. Well, you're being too mean. Well, I don't like the way that you said that, and I don't respond to tough love. And all of these things may very well be true, but it is super imperative that you sit in the space and really examine what part of you was responding to the tough love. Is it the side of you that maybe as a little girl received too much tough love or none at all? So when you hear anything that goes against what you're used to hearing, it hurts, because that's a very real thing. And then there could be the other side of you that is just kind of like the egotistical side of us that has built up this image about ourselves. Again, ego is not always a bad thing. It's just the image and the identity that your mind clings to. And so sometimes we build up this image about ourselves where we are, for lack of a better term, our best self, which is great, but it can also be a barrier to actual growth when you are unable to see, which most of us are, unable to see, the error, the flaws, the little quirks. But what's worse is that ego also puts a barrier between people trying to communicate those things with you and you actually being able to receive them. So we all have this protective layer that we have, and it's this protective layer is your ego, who is fighting for you, who is fighting for your identity. And unless you are open and willing to accept that sometimes your ego is kind of like a little kid in you, let me at him. Unless you're willing to accept that part, you will get offended by any sort of attack on the perception of yourself that you have, which is your ego. So hopefully I've laid a very clear foundation for you to understand where I'm coming from when I talk about tough love. I'm not talking about telling someone, oh, you're fat, go work out. Or, oh, you're late, you're not smart, that's why you couldn't build your business. That's not tough love. That's being a fucking bitch to someone. And people don't deserve that. That's not what I do when I tough love my clients. When I tough love people, including myself, I call a spade a spade. And we're not always ready to be called a spade when we are a spade. So now let's move into why I'm a proponent of tough love, what it has done for me, and what it has done for some of my clients to get amazing results in a short amount of time if they're open and willing to receive the tough love. So for those of you that are familiar with the story of Bonnie and Brenda, Brenda was my third fitness coach at YouFit who changed the mother trucking game for me. Brenda saw me, took me under her wing as her client, and every time I tried to bitch, moan, complain, quit, cancel, downgrade, run away, not do this, shy away from this, she just continued to put her foot down in lovingness and hold me accountable for what I said. I said I wanted to achieve these goals. I said I wanted to do this. So when certain behaviors of mine started to creep up that were hindering my progress, that were going back into my old mindset, she would call them out. And there'd be days where I'd be cussing Brenda out under my breath. And there'd be days where even during my workouts, I'd be like, who the fuck does she think I am? I can't do this shit as I'm doing it. And then I'd come back up to her and I'd be like, wow, Brenda, look what we did. And I went and became a certified trainer and I got to work alongside my mentor. And it was one of the best experiences that I had It was amazing, right? It was so amazing being able to work alongside my mentor, the one that had helped me change my life. So had it not been for her tough love and her persistence and her commitment to my growth, not to my feelings, I wouldn't be here right now. So that's my first example of how tough love has revolutionized the game for me. Number two, um, I've done, as you guys know, several business mentorships. I've had lots of feminine energy. I've had lots of masculine energy. The feminine helped me heal my inside, helped me heal some money mindset issues, self-worth issues. That's an ongoing process, by the way. You don't just get healed from things, because triggers can come, and maybe you handle them well and maybe you don't, and then they'll just continue to come up. But I got the most exponential growth in my mindset and in my business when I was under the leadership of men. Now, I'm not saying that women are not capable of tough love. In fact, I'm actually like a walking poster board right now for what mind and body does, which is bring the feminine aspect of the healing and the spirituality and the going within. We bring that just as much as we bring that masculine, all right, girl, it's time to step it the fuck up. We bring those two together, right? So I'm not saying that females cannot do tough love, but what I am saying, and that's why I created Mind and Body, because I took a step back and I looked and I was like, wow, okay, so all my female coaches really helped me in this area, but we didn't move the needle over here. And the men may not have tapped into my spirituality, may not have tapped into my creative flow. They told me what to do and how to do it and how fast to do it, but it also helped the business grow. What if I could bring these two aspects into my brand, and boom, voila, Mind and Body was born. Mind, the masculine mindset, mind over matter, and body, the feminine aspect of embodiment. You get it now? Okay, cool. Going back to this, I noticed that I experienced the most growth when I had the masculine energy. Now, that could be my personal experience because, not having my father in the home, that could be a very personal thing. But it's also something that I've noticed in general, is that when that masculine, tough love energy comes into play, shit gets done. Again, we're not downplaying the feminine. I'm just telling you the facts. Calm down. And so with that said, when I joined the 10K Academy, and I had nothing but super masculine, super go get it, you do this, we do that, it was frustrating, and I remember being overwhelmed, and I remember being like, and then I also remember watching my business grow and watching my followers grow and watching things blossom, and I was like, who knew? I needed a little fire lit under my ass. I needed someone to look at me and be like, hey, who is that piece of content even talking to, Bonnie? You're all over the fucking place. Hey, how many people are you actually messaging and communicating with every single day, but yet complaining you're not making any sales in your business? I needed someone to call me on my shit, as opposed to what I was getting before, which is like, well, just, trust the process, whatever. I needed that. I needed that. Let me not throw shade. The ladies were also telling me you need to message people too, but it was coming in such a soft way that I was blocking it out. When the dudes would get on our Tough Love Tuesday calls and be like, how many people are you messaging each week? You're crying. How many times are you posting? Are you even like that? Like that woke me up. And I was like, you right? You right. I ain't doing it. You right. You right. You right. And it helped snap me out of it. And I've noticed a pattern where I'll go from a male business coach to a female to a male to a female. And I look back and I'm like, wow, look at me balancing those energies. Like I got tough loved enough to where I needed to go back to my feminine space and so on and so forth. So it was really cool. So I just wanted to share that with you because I needed that. It also burnt me out. So then I ended up hiring a female to help me the next time around and so on and so forth. So that's my personal experience with how tough love has really helped me step it up. And more recently, you guys know, if you've been listening and following my story this year, I had a mentor who just ripped Band-Aids off. Like I'd go over there and sit and chat with him and just Band-Aid getting ripped off. And I'm just like, ouch, whoa, hey, wasn't ready for that. Thought we were talking about business today. You brought up my childhood. You hit a nerve. And there would be whole weeks where I'd be so mad at him and wouldn't talk to him or wouldn't call him or wouldn't go back over there for my sessions. And I made a super gushy post about him. Like in 9 months, that sort of coaching literally like did what a lot of people go to therapy for years to do. And it hurt and it was embarrassing and it was humbling. And I did not like the process and I wanted to run away. And it was the most uncomfortable situation ever. And it also helped me give birth to Mind and Body this summer. Did I change it to Mind and Body in December? No, I changed it in January. But like what you see now, what's unfolding now, this startup, this platform, this vision, that came from the tough love. And so now I'm going to bring it all home. When you get someone that is willing to speak into you lovingly, remember, not from a dick move and not from being a bitch, but lovingly communicate with you things that you are not able to see, you have to understand that that is love. Because because it's easy to be a dick to someone and just tell them what they're doing wrong. It's easy to be a bitch to someone and stroke your own ego and talk to them from a place of being up here and you see them down here. That's easy. Anybody can do that. But it's real love when someone sees what you're doing and is able to communicate it with you in a way that helps you open your eyes and see. I literally made a reel. This is such a Tough Love Tuesday theme because I just made a reel about myself. I haven't posted it yet. But it was talking about me like, oh, wow, I'm the problem? You mean when I grow and evolve and become better, my life changes? You mean when I become a better person, this relationship with this other person will get better, not when they change? What? I hate that. But it's the truth. And so when someone is willing to give you that amount of attention and that love and that patience and call you out on your stuff, do yourself a favor. Don't take it personally. Now, going on to how this has helped some of my clients see the best results really, really fast, and how not doing tough love has really hurt a lot of my clients. I'll be real with you. Last year, I was taking people that I should have referred to a therapist for. I didn't have eyes that were trained well enough to see that the person was depressed and in need of a psychologist, not a life coach. I just saw a woman who was like, your energy motivates me and I need some positivity and I want you to be my coach. And then I learned real quick that a lot of these women were depressed and like latching on to the high vibrations that they saw in me, which is cool, but I'm not a licensed therapist and I also don't have the bandwidth for that. But anywho, all that aside, I didn't tough love them. Oh, you're having a bad day. You don't feel like getting out of bed. That's okay. I hope that, next week will be better. Oh my gosh, it's 8 o'clock at night, totally out of my work time and boundaries that I didn't have. And you want to call and have a talk while you cry, or you want to text me while you're crying? Yeah, no, sure. I'm here for you. I'm here for that. And I did that so much that I started to almost I lost respect for my own practice as well as the clients. And as a result, that these people that I let that stuff happen with did not get the results from the program that they were hoping for. Being real with you. On the flip side, when I have someone come to me and they tell me what their problem is or what their goal is and why they haven't been able to reach it, and I see these familiar patterns creeping back up throughout our sessions together, and I lovingly call them out on it, and they let me, they might be mad for a couple of days or a week or two, similar to the way I was with mine, but every single time they come back around and are like, wow, thank you. I needed that. I did this. I did that. I did this in this past week. And that's literally what would happen every time with me and my coach. The day that I organized Team Mind and Body and I sent the pitch out to the women who wanted to be on the founding team, I don't know what he said to me, but I was mad. I stormed out of the room. He had a big house and I went to the front room where the office space was. And I was just I was so mad. I was like, man, fuck this dude. I'm gonna figure this out. I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure it out. And then he's gonna be eating his words for breakfast. And what did I end up doing? I went and created a proposal, a baller ass proposal, and sent it out to the women. And all the women that I sent it out to were like, yes, I want to be a part of this. And I sent it to him, and he's like, you just made that just now? I'm like, I did. And he just looked at me. If he had been like, oh, Bonnie, oh, you said that you wanted to do A, B, C, and D, and you hadn't done it yet because you were sad. You were having a sad summer. Oh, Bonnie, oh, don't worry. It's all going to work out. Or, maybe not so condescending. Maybe like, oh, Bonnie, don't worry. You can try again tomorrow. You can try again next year. Take your time. Let your business fall to the ground. I'm sure you'll figure something out, right? Just trust and believe. If he had done that, and I would have been like, yeah, you're right. And we both would have sat there taking my excuses, the business would have not been able to transform and blossom into what it is doing now and what it will do. This is why I believe in tough love, because it's coming from a place of love. I hope that this is getting through to someone. I hope that this is helping you understand that the thing that you are shying away from, the thing that you are resisting the most, is literally the thing that is going to catapult you to the next level. I'm going to give you one last example and then I'm going to be out, because in my schedule it says it's time for me to go do CEO shit. That's literally what I have in my calendar: CEO shit and open for calls. So the last example is with my current mentor. I'm so freaking happy. Oh, look, I did it again, male to female. Okay. Now I'm back working with Sunira Mahani and I'm so excited. I did her CEO school course this summer and it really helped the business in combination with the male mentor I had in person this year. And one of the things that you got when you joined her program, she was doing a live 4-day workshop where she gave an insane amount of value for 4 days straight. I was just eating it up, taking notes, like, oh my gosh, she's bringing successful woman after successful woman. She calls them unlikely CEOs. So you're seeing women, you're seeing transgender, you're seeing homosexual, you're seeing all these people, unlikely CEOs who either didn't have a background in business, didn't have a leg up in the world, didn't have a lot of connections. And she brought all of them on, people who are like embodiment, feminine practice leaders who run multi-million-dollar businesses, a bunch of unlikely CEOs. She brought them up and I was just like, my eyes are so wide. I was like, oh my gosh, if they can do it, I can do it. Yeah, right? And if you signed up for the program on that day, as opposed to like waiting it out, then you got a hot seat with her. And if you guys don't understand the value of this, like, this woman has built a $1 billion business over the course of the last 8 years. And so for me to be in a hot seat where she can pick my business apart and tell me what I need to know, like, that was invaluable. I would have paid the cost of the 8-week course was $3,000. I would have paid that just for that hot seat with her. And so when I did get it, I walked away from it pissed off at her. I closed my laptop and I was like, fucking bitch. I don't think I called her a bitch, but I was really mad because the words that she said to me like pierced my heart. She was basically like, oh, well, she sounded exhausted with me. She's like, oh my gosh. She's like, okay, Bonnie, this is a mess. What you have going on right now, this is a mess. She's like, your pitch sounds like every other coach out there. What differentiates you from other people? And she was just giving it to me and I'm taking notes, but I'm so mad while she's talking. Like, I'm cringing inside. Everything that she's saying is cutting me to my core. And you know what I ended up doing? Walking away from that call determined as fuck to not sound like every other coach ever again. Determined as fuck to organize my business so that the next time I get to sit down with a billionaire CEO or a mentor, when I talk about what I'm trying to do, I'm coherent, I'm confident, and I make sense. None of that would have happened if she would have got in my hot seat with me and be like, Bonnie, this is such a great idea. This is so cute. Okay, so maybe you could try to do this and maybe you could try to do that. Because when people, again, tough love's not for everybody, but for me, when you talk to me in that tone, I kind of tune out. I tune the fuck out. Okay, it could be because I was raised by very strong women, my grandmother. I don't know, but I do know that the effects of that tough love changed my mindset, my business, and the direction I was going in instantaneously. And I think that it's worth noting that one of the things I believe in, and it's also science, is that your brains and neuroplasticity, right, in your brain, it learns either through repetition or through intensity. When my mentor was being so hard on me this year, I now understand why. So many people, entrepreneurs especially, people with great ideas and things that they want to do, sit on them and they sit on them and they think about it and they plan about it and they think some more about it and they plan some more about it. This is the same thing for weight loss clients. People, you guys watch the content, you hear it, you're like, this sounds good. Oh, I see a sale. Oh, I might do that. Oh, you see a challenge. Oh, that sounds good. And you don't make any progress. Or you do join the program and you think about going to the gym and you think about logging your food and you think about doing all this stuff and you just keep getting nice little pats on the back from your coaches with your soft love and you don't do anything. I remember the day that he asked, what are you trying to do? What are you building? And I said it and he goes, well, when? When are you going to do it, Bonnie? And I was like, oh, I don't like that. Well, that's rude. But it's the truth. When? When is a legitimate question. Had it not been for tough love, had it not been for things like that, hold on, I'm going to pause for a second. I'll type that. They're like touring people through the neighborhood and they usually walk like past. I don't know why they didn't keep walking. It's beautiful out here. The lake is out here. But anywho, so yeah, It was like, who, or not who, when are you going to do it? Um, and those words pierced my heart because I can look at so many people in my life, and I'm sure you can too, that have talked about the things that they want to do, that have dreamed about it. Y'all know the audio, the trending audio on by Beyonce. Don't talk about what you gonna do. Don't just dream about what you gonna do. And I don't remember what she says after that, but it's the truth. Like, so many people are out here talking about what they're gonna do. Maybe they even make an Instagram page. Woohoo! Maybe, like, are they? And I'm not shitting on anyone that's moving slow, but I am trying to let you realize that there's so much value from having wise counsel, from having mentorship, but most importantly, having someone that's going to say the tough things to you that nobody else will say. Okay? Sometimes nobody else will say it because they don't know to say it. Your friends, your mother, your grandma, your best friend, these people don't always know what to say to you because, newsflash, that's not their job. If you're trying to start a business, you can't get the tough love that you need from your friend that has never ran a business, nor will they ever run one, and nor do they have a desire to. They're not going to be able to give you that same insight. Um, when it comes to your like your weight loss journey, like, if you only have your homegirls that fall on and off their journey or do crazy things, like, they're not going to have the wisdom, the capacity to give you the tough love that you need. So it's super important that you seek that out if you're trying to make serious changes. So I hope that this was informative for anyone who thinks that tough love is something that they don't need in their life, because the majority of the people that I know that say, oh, I don't respond well to tough love, or oh, I don't need tough love, or I don't like it. Yes, the fuck you do. It doesn't feel good. So because it doesn't feel good, you think that you don't like it. My brain went to the gutter. Let's come back, Bonnie. But no, seriously, the majority of the people that shy away from it are the ones that would benefit the most from it, because the stagnation, the complacency, the little girl mindset, the victim mentality, all of these things that have kept you stuck can literally be snapped away by somebody speaking some real ass shit to you. But we don't like that. So instead, we'd rather learn from our mistakes, through repetition, which can take years. And for some people, we don't have years. Life is short. I'm young. I know that I could probably live to 90, 70, 80. I don't know how long I'm going to live. But I also don't want to live a life where I'm like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. Or I'll grow up tomorrow. Or I'll toughen up tomorrow. Or I'll make this move tomorrow. Or I'll face this hard thing that I don't want to do tomorrow. Like, that doesn't do anything but create a multitude of problems that just continue to stack up. And so now you don't want to face them. And in those situations, the only thing that is going to break you free from that is the tough love. Now, I will really end with this. I saw a quote that said, the only thing that has ever changed the situation was action. Not thinking about it, not, farting around about it, but action. And a lot of people aren't called to action until somebody comes in with some serious ass tough love. So the main takeaway that I also wanted to get out to anyone listening to this is, when you are looking for a mentor, a coach, or something, know what you're signing up for. If you sign up with me, you're going to get everything that I just described. You're going to get the femininity, the spirituality, the going within, the shadow work, the deep inner work, the healing, the learning how to connect with your body, all the woo-woo, right? You're going to learn how to pray. You're going to learn how to meditate and manifest. But you're also going to learn how to get your shit together. And if that's not something that you are ready to deal with, then we're not going to be a good fit, because I'm not going to let you come into my space, come into my program, come into my coaching container and tell me how you want to be coached. That's not going to fucking fly. Okay. Especially if what you see in me is what you want in yourself, then you're going to have to go through the nice interwoven mixture of feminine softness and masculine toughness, because that's who I am. That's what I do. Coach Bond's out. No, but seriously, thank you guys for tuning into today's podcast. If you did get value from today's episode, do me a favor and screenshot this and share it to your story and tag me at Coach Bonds, or you can tag Mind and Body Co. or Mind and Body Fitness. We are starting our holiday Get Back and Give Back challenge. It starts next week, and it is a perfect introductory into the mind and body community. You're going to get mindset accountability, you're going to get nutrition accountability, and of course active lifestyle and fitness, because we're all about mind and body transformations. It's been a pleasure sharing my heart with you today. I hope that you enjoyed today's show, and I'll see you next time on Boss Life with Bonds. Somehow I stopped figuring out how to, or I forgot how to turn off the record button. All right, y'all, I'm out. I'm going to work. Thank you guys so much for everybody that tuned in on the gram, shutting it down there, and shutting down the Facebook. Boom. Where we at? Where we at? Why don't I know how to use the internet? Oh, well, I'll just read these. I can't afford my therapist all the time, but there are some great TikTok accounts that are great for getting me through. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Terry, girl, the realness hurts feelings sometimes, but I'd rather have hurt feelings and transformed lives than sugarcoating stuff for people and watching them not make change. So thank you for your support, Mama.